Hello from Aniverse. We're back with weekly Shonen recap number 2, and this week we'll be covering One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, and we're adding Boruto to our list because we think this week's manga is getting interesting. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll be starting with One Piece chapter 1078 titled Escape Limit. Cover features Vince Smoke Judge and Caesar Clown holding hands. The caption reads, Neo Mads was formed and Germa 66 Shoulders are seen celebrating the alliance. Vince Smoke, Reiju, and Ichiji, however, are seen sighted in the background, seemingly upset with the alliance. The chapter begins with Stussy using her snail to talk to Sentomaru. She tells him that Uncle Kizaru is on his way to Egghead Island, and that the plan is to have the Marine forces as backup. Stussy claims the world government is taking such precautions because they think Vegapunk's research is far more severe than discoveries of Ohara. Doctor not only continued, but also looked the scholar's forbidden research further, and unlike Ohara, Egghead Island has a defensive force. Hence, the world government is moving its forces far beyond what a normal buster call would look like. Then we see people evacuating all over Egghead Island before shifting perspectives on the third floor of Building C to Frankie's group. The partially petrified Frankie is still able to talk, but can't move since half of his body is now a stone statue. Meanwhile, Vegapunk Pythagoras tearfully asks S-Snake who gave her the order. However, she doesn't reply, instead stomping on his head and causing a huge explosion. We didn't get to see Pythagoras' fate here, but it can be assumed that he's either killed or gravely injured as a result. Then the next scene shifts to the second floor of Building A to Nico Robin's group. She says she tried checking and it seems that the Seraphim run amok. We see her deduce that something could be happening to Dr. Vegapunk's main body while everyone is busy fighting. Vegapunk Atlas tells her that there is one abandoned lab that was sealed off a while ago. Robin then asks her to lead her and Chopper there immediately. The issue shifts to Building A, third floor, to Sanji's group where Nami is holding Vegapunk Edison in her arms. A ghost form Brooks says that he'll look for Dr. Vegapunk while Sanji continues fighting S-Shark. Sanji seemingly allows S-Shark to punch him, but he takes 0 damage whatsoever from Seraphim's attack, calling it the power of love. Chapter yet again shifts to the fourth floor of Building A, where Luffy and Zoro are pissed that Seraphim aren't allowing their Lunarian flames to turn off. This means that Luffy and others are still unable to damage them. However, Luffy suddenly realizes that S-Hawk has somehow disappeared from the fight. Lucci deduces that the Seraphim switched his target to weaker fighters, knowing that this would also distract the stronger members of the group and will save toughest for last. Zoro starts chasing S-Hawk, then Luffy mistakes Kaku as Usopp because of his nose, asks him to follow Zoro before he gets lost. This made me chuckle a bit. Kaku does so, but gets irritated at Luffy for calling him Usopp, while Luffy and Lucci stay behind to continue fighting S-Bear. Scene shifts while Jewelry Bonnie is sitting and crying before the tangible form of her father, Bartholomew Kuma's memories. These are all events that happened the day before the famous Egghead incident, but their origins actually start 3 months prior. A flashback then begins, which sees Mary Gios receive an anonymous tip from Egghead Island that Vegapunk was researching the Void Sentry. This is what prompted the world government to send the Cypher Pole ships to find out the truth. While the agents on board didn't find any evidence of such research, all of them still vanished on their way back. This resulted in the anonymous caller reaching back out to Mary Gios, but asking to speak to the GOC directly. We then see the anonymous caller convincing the GOC that Vegapunk betrayed them. This is what created the order for CP0 to eliminate Dr. Vegapunk and his 6 satellites in the first place. However, as a backup measure, they also chose to send one of their own to the island along with Admiral Kizaru and Marine forces. This sizable force already on the scale of a war is the one heading to Egghead Island as the current events of the manga are transpiring. As the narrator continues, a montage is seen of Admiral Kizaru, St. J. Garcia Saturn of the Gorosei, Vice Admiral doll, and other new Marines preparing for battle. Then the narrator claims that the conclusion of Egghead incident will shock the world tomorrow in a way no one has imagined. We then discover in the issue's final scene that the traitor is Vegapunk York. She appears in front of Dr. Vegapunk with the same smile she previously wore, but in a creepier way. York talks to Dr. Vegapunk, calling him Stella and excitedly telling him that she will become a celestial dragon for turning him over. Dr. Vegapunk questions why she would want to join such despicable human beings. She instead laughs and says that's what Shaka would say if he weren't dead, concluding that the world really doesn't need more than one of us. We are now also shifting towards Jujutsu Kaisen 217, titled The Bath. In the previous chapter, Sukuna used the bath to get closer to evil and suppress Megumi's soul. He tracked down Yozoro, who was in Sendai after killing Ishigori. Sukuna aimed to completely break Megumi by killing Tsumiki, who was possessed by Yorozu. This week's chapter begins with Yorozu facing off against Sukuna, while the latter chuckles at Yozoro for thinking that she could survive this. Yorozu makes the first move, providing Kenjaku's previous comments true as Yorozu demonstrates a strong case of infatuation with Sukuna. They begin their fight, and she claims that she could sense Sukuna's presence when Angel could not, due to being in love with him. Yorozu proposes they will fight with the intent to kill, and should she win, she will get to marry Sukuna, who agrees very dispassionately. Man, she's a simp for Sukuna. She starts imagining wedding scenarios and preparations. While the primary engage in hand-to-hand combat, Sukuna summons the divine dogs into battle, which look totally hellish. The dogs start attacking Yorozu, but she's able to evade their attacks easily. She then counters Sukuna's attack by surrounding him within a strange enclosure made with her technique. However, Sukuna escapes it with ease. Yorozu stops attacking him and asks why he is not using his own technique and is relying on Megumi's instead. Sukuna replies that he wants to kill Tsumiki using Megumi's cursed technique 10 Shadows in a way that will completely break him and his will to live on. This irritates Yorozu, and she starts throwing tantrums about how dare Sukuna plans to touch his wife-to-be with someone other than his own cursed technique. Man, Yorozu's down bad for Sukuna. She even asks him seriously if he could defeat her without his own domain expansion. At chapter's end, we learn that Yorozu's technique is dependent on her command of a semi-autonomous liquid metal that changes its volume and shape but maintains a stable physical structure. She takes on a new form, which is described in the chapter as flesh armor, inspired by a variety of borrowing from multiple strands of evolution, and looks like the body of a male wrestler. In retaliation, Sukuna begins to summon Mahoraga. The editor's note says, a battle with a wedding ceremony on the line, the real fight starts now. With the chapter ends, and an unfortunate announcement of break next week comes with it. Next, we'll be discussing the most anticipated manga of this week, Boruto. Chapter 79, titled Omnipotence, has taken the internet by storm, revealing one of the most jaw-dropping twists in the series so far. Chapter 79 picks up right where the previous chapter left off, with Boruto holding his eye with the scar he received from Kawaki's attack. He then curses Momoshiki and demands to know what's going to happen to Momoshiki, just repeats, "I told you, it's already started," and fades away. It seems that Shikamaru has already declared a search party for Kawaki, who has escaped with the help of Momoshiki. Sasuke and Konohamaru also join the search team after instructing Sarada and Mitsuki to take Boruto to the hospital. Mitsuki asks Sarada to take care of Boruto, while he also goes after Kawaki. Sarada then remembers Mitsuki's words, where he stated that he really doesn't know what he'll do to that person if someone tries to hurt Boruto. Realizing Mitsuki's intention, Boruto asks Sarada to accompany Mitsuki as Boruto is concerned for his well-being. Meanwhile, Kawaki is doing his best to erase his chakra, hoping to remain hidden from his pursuers. But in the process of doing all that, he exhausts himself. Eventually, Ida was able to locate Kawaki using her Sharingan. Daimon, Ida's younger brother, wants to go with her, but she outright ignores him and departs to find Kawaki. Man, what is up with these girls? First Yozoro, now Ida. As Shikamaru is running towards Kawaki, Amado contacts him and asks to spare Kawaki's life, but Shikamaru shuts him out by telling him that this is Konoha's matter and he has zero authority over this. Amado reveals that with his voice commands, he could stop Kawaki just like he did with Delta. Infuriated infuriated at Amato for keeping secrets, Shikamaru tells him that he understands his situations, but Kawaki has crossed a line he shouldn't have, and if he doesn't surrender, they will deal with him as an enemy of Konoha. Upon finding Kawaki, Ida reassures him that she is on his side. Kawaki rudely says she's useless to him right now and will give them his location as she cannot hide her chakra. Ida then ensures him that she won't let anyone touch him and he's safe with her. Ida is shooting her shot even in the midst of chaos. Kawaki expresses he doesn't care what happens to him and just wants to protect Naruto. He further states that as long as Momoshiki exists, Naruto and this village aren't safe. He then desires to switch places with Boruto to be the son of Naruto Uzumaki and leave Boruto as an outsider. This is the turning point that sets the stage for Ida's incredible display of power. By embracing Kawaki's face with her hand, Ida sends out an aura with godlike power that it creates the shape of a crescent moon. Everyone nearby could see the aura emitted by Ida, and then the chakra expands from forest to village and then covers the whole planet. This is some high amount of chakra shown by Ida. She changed history and swaps Boruto and Kawaki's lives. We can see when Shikamaru gives the coordinates of Boruto instead of Kawaki's. This surprises Sarada as to why everyone's talking about Boruto suddenly. As Mitsuki and Sarada reach where Boruto is, Mitsuki tells Sarada to stand back, and we can see him getting serious as he takes his headband and he unleashes his sage power. Meanwhile, Kawaki learns what Ida has done when she addresses him as Naruto's son while talking to a ninja. Scene then shifts to Mitsuki attacking Boruto as he's still confused about what has happened to Mitsuki. That's when Momoshiki drops a bombshell on Boruto and tells him all about Ida and her power and how she has switched him and Kawaki. We then see Shikamaru asking Ida for Naruto's whereabouts, to which Kawaki tells her to respond by saying the seventh died by Boruto's hands. Scene then shifts to Boruto and Momoshiki as the latter one is explaining the situation to Boruto as to how Boruto becomes the enemy of the Konoha village for killing Naruto, while Kawaki assumes the role of Naruto's son, born and raised in Konoha. In the aftermath of Ida's history-altering power, everyone, including Mitsuki, considers Boruto an enemy. It seems that Momoshiki's prophecy regarding Boruto has come in true. The vision that Boruto experienced in Chapter 75 appears to be coming true. Interestingly, Sarada seems to be unaffected by Ida's power, and we still don't know if Sasuke is affected by it or not. But credits to Kishimoto, and especially the illustrator of Boruto, Miko Ikemoto, for this wonderful chapter. Hope you liked the video. Signing out, Aniverse.